Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place where we cut through all the information overload, take your sources, and really just extract the most important nuggets of knowledge. And today, we are jumping straight into a very specific and I think universal frustration.
Absolutely.
It's one that just plagues almost every single person learning English. It doesn't matter if you've been at it for 6 months or, 6 years.
It's that feeling, isn't it, where you know the words, you know the grammar, but then nothing.
Exactly. You can read an article just fine. But the moment a native speaker opens their mouth at normal speed, or the moment you need to open yours, your brain just freezes.
It is absolutely the universal experience, that strange feeling where you're perfectly fluent when you're sitting alone studying,
Right.
reviewing your vocabulary. And then in real life, a barista asks you something incredibly basic, like, what can I get you?
Or your coworker asks about your weekend.
Yes, and you suddenly forget the word for coffee or, how to use the verb to be. It's just maddening.
It is. And that disconnect, that gap between passive knowledge and active fluency, that is what we are tackling today.
And it is a gap you can cross.
Our mission is clear. We're extracting the most practical nuggets from the material you shared, and we're focusing on how to stop learning English like it's a museum. Something you look at.
But never touch.
Exactly. And start mastering the real American English that people actually use. Effortlessly. We're going to focus on daily habits, mindset shifts, and techniques that take minutes, not hours.
And, crucially, we're going to keep the pace slow, clear, and really practical. No complex linguistic theories here.
No, just actionable steps.
Just steps designed to break those bad habits. I think we really need to normalize the discomfort that comes with real progress.
So let me just ask you, the listener, the crucial opening question right now. Are you genuinely tired of struggling with English, of getting distracted by your phone when you should be practicing, and, pretending to yourself that you actually studied when you know deep down you didn't commit that focused time?
It's an easy trap to fall into.
It is. The core premise we are working from today is simple. English should feel natural, automatic, flowing. It shouldn't be painful and slow. And the shortcut to that feeling is training your mouth and your ear on phrases, rhythm, and pronunciation.
Right. Not just collecting vocabulary.
Not just collecting words like they're creating cards. Words alone will not save you in a fast conversation.
That is precisely right. The moment you start speaking, it's the rhythm, it's the stress, it's the usage that matters so much more than the size of your vocabulary.
So it's about training the brain to stop hearing every separate word.
Yes, and start recognizing a whole phrase, a chunk of meaning, as one single, instantly understandable unit. That right there is the difference between fluency and frustration.
Absolutely. And before we dive into that first major section, if you're finding this helpful, please just take a moment right now, like this deep dive, subscribe to the Native Ear channel, and share it with your family and friends.
It really does help.
It ensures you never miss another deep dive that helps you cut through the confusion and get to real fluency. Now let's introduce our expert guide for this. Joining us is Jordan, a highly engaging instructor who specializes in helping learners move past that intermediate plateau. Jordan, thank you for synthesizing all this for us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Your insight is key because today we're going to explain why people freeze when a cashier says that will be $5.50 and, more importantly, how to fix those messy practice habits in just 10 to 15 minutes a day.
Thank you. And that freeze, that little moment of panic and a simple interaction, it's completely understandable, but, and this is the important part, it is also completely avoidable.
So it's not about ability?
No, it is usually not a result of low intelligence or poor ability. It is a result of having trained the wrong practice habits. If we fix the habits, the ability, it just surfaces immediately.
Okay, let's unpack this first section then. And this one, it requires a moment of, let's say, uncomfortable self-reflection. We're calling it the listening trap. So, Jordan, let's just debunk what you call the passive listening myth.
This is where we have to be really, really honest with ourselves. The uncomfortable truth is that almost every English learner will say they listen to English every day.
I hear that all the time. I listen for hours.
Hours and hours. But what they really mean is that they play something. A podcast, a video, a movie, in the background.
While they're doing something else.
Exactly. While they're scrolling through social media, half thinking about a work deadline, what to buy for dinner, or just making mental excuses for why they aren't actually practicing their speaking.
Right. It's the classic definition of multitasking. But you're arguing that this isn't just useless, it's actually counterproductive. Why is background noise worse than nothing?
It's worse because it teaches your brain a very bad lesson. It teaches your brain that English is something it can safely ignore. We call that activity noise, not listening. Noise doesn't require any focus. And your brain, it's a brilliant efficiency machine.
It wants the easy path.
Always. If it realizes it can understand the gist of something with just 3% of its capacity while focusing the other 97% on scrolling, it will choose that path.
And then when a real person talks to you?
When a real person talks to you at normal speed, requiring 100% of your focus, your brain just freezes.
Yeah.
Because it was never actually trained to focus on fast, unpredictable speech. You are, in a way, lying to yourself about your practice, and your fluency reflects that lack of focus.
So the key insight here is that the ears can become lazy.
Yeah.
How do we actively train our ears to be lazy?
Yeah.
What are the specific behaviors?
Oh, we train them through very consistent bad habits. If you constantly use subtitles in your native language,
Yeah.
or even in English, you're training your ears to ignore the sound.
You're listening with your eyes.
You are listening with your eyes, not your ears. It's a great way to put it. Or if you pause every single sentence to look up a word, you're training your brain to interrupt the natural flow. You're always seeking translation instead of letting the sound just hit the brain directly.
I see.
These small, repetitive habits, they make your ears lazy, and then you're shocked when real, fast conversation feels like, well, like chaos.
That structural interruption makes perfect sense. So if we accept that real English is messy, people cut words, they change speed, they swallow sounds, what is the goal of smart listening then, if 100% understanding isn't realistic?
The goal is not perfection. The goal is resilience. It's about stretching the brain. If you are waiting for perfect, clean understanding, you are going to wait forever.
And you'll never speak.
You will never engage. If your practice is only that slow, deliberate teacher English, you are, as we say, setting yourself up to fail. It is like training for a marathon by walking to the fridge.
I really like that analogy. It highlights the importance of, encountering complexity in a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the actionable step? How do we start this smart listening habit?
The instruction is simple, but I will say the commitment is hard. You need to commit to precisely 10 to 15 minutes daily of focused, smart listening. Minutes, not hours.
And focus is the key word.
Focus is everything. During that time, you eliminate all distractions. Phone face down. In another room, preferably. No scrolling, no texting. Just listen. It's non-negotiable focused attention.
And what's the progress metric? I mean, if I start this and I feel completely overwhelmed, is that a bad sign?
Absolutely not. And that brings us to the progress metric. We have to reframe that feeling of discomfort. If you listen and you understand, say, 50% of it, you're doing great.
Okay.
But here's the critical insight. If you listen and you only understand 30%, it's even better.
So understanding less is actually better.
In this context, yes, because that 30% means your brain is truly stretching. It's fighting to find context. It's building resilience to confusion. The state you want is slightly uncomfortable.
Right.
If it's too easy, you're bored, you're not progressing. If it's impossible, you're overwhelmed. You want that sweet spot, like lifting a heavy but not a stupidly heavy weight. At the gym, that is where real progress lives.
So we're prioritizing active struggling over passively absorbing something we already know.
Precisely. You are seeking out the confusion, not avoiding it.
Okay, so let's shift to what we should be focusing on during this uncomfortable listening time. The material points out a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Learning words, not usage.
Yes. This is maybe the biggest barrier to speaking quickly. English just doesn't care how many word lists you finished.
Or how many apps you have.
Exactly. You can memorize 5,000 individual words, but if you do not know how they are used together, you will always have a serious listening and context problem. The simple rule is this. Listen to how English is used, not how it is explained.
And what's fascinating is this idea of recognizing phrases as one unit, one single sound with one meaning.
It is. Because when native speakers talk, especially at speed, phrases blend together. They become a single sound pattern. This is because of things like sound reduction. We connect sounds to make it easier to say the next word.
Let's use some specific examples from the material to really analyze this. We should pay close attention to the pronunciation and that rhythm shift.
Absolutely. Let's take a common one you hear. Grab a bite.
Grab a bite. Now, if a learner breaks that down, they think, grab to hold and bite a piece of food.
Right.
But the usage, the rhythmic unit, is simply
Get something to eat, and notice the stress. We do not say grab a bite. It's more like grab a bite. The stress is on bite.
right. Okay, another one from a professional setting, wrap things up.
Wrap things up. If you translate wrap literally, like wrapping a gift, it makes no sense.
None at all.
As one unit, it means finish this activity now. And you'll hear how things and up kind of blend together quickly. Wrap things up.
And what about that high-pressure scenario? Paying for something. The cashier says, at lightning speed, that will be $5.50.
That will be $5.50. In a fast exchange, those numbers just blur together. The listener's brain has to instantly recognize the overall context of payment and that sound pattern.
Not pause to translate every word.
No, if they pause, the cashier is already on to the next customer. That's the whole point. By repeatedly hearing these phrases through smart listening, your brain starts to bypass translation. It just recognizes the sound unit.
Let's use that real-world panic scenario you mentioned to really hit this home. The coworker says, let's touch base later, and the learner's brain just goes, touch what?
It's a perfect illustration of the disconnect, right? The learner has memorized the dictionary definitions for touch and base, but they failed to absorb the common phrase touch base as meaning, let's talk briefly later.
So the brain is running its translation algorithm, and it just crashes.
It crashes. Because a literal meaning makes zero sense. And that crash causes the hesitation, the blank stare, the panic.
So by prioritizing usage and focused listening for just 10 or 15 minutes, we're training the brain to stop translating and start absorbing flow and rhythm. We're teaching it to see language as a river, not a collection of rocks.
A very fast, unpredictable river.
Yeah.
And this focused habit, this smart listening, it is the foundation. If you skip it, you are choosing to stay one step behind in every single real-life conversation.
That sets us up perfectly for our next challenge.
Yeah.
We have to break the silence habit and, critically, the translation habit. You call this the translation killer. Can you describe that problem in more detail?
Well, the problem isn't bad luck. It is a destructive habit. Every time you get a chance to speak, your brain instinctively runs back to your native language. It holds a full internal meeting.
Checking for the perfect verb tense.
Arguing with itself about grammar, panicking about pronunciation, and only then does it send a sentence, often too late, to the mouth.
And by then, the moment is gone. The conversation has moved on.
Exactly. That hesitation, that tiny delay is the sound of your brain translating. It keeps your speaking slow and your confidence low. We have to break that cycle.
So the solution is to start thinking in English. And you argue that this is a basic survival skill, not some advanced technique.
It absolutely is basic. Thinking in English is a required step between hearing and speaking. If you skip it, everything stays slow. And let's be clear, thinking in English doesn't mean having deep philosophical debates in your head.
No.
It means simple, boring, everyday thoughts. We have to normalize that internal monologue.
Okay, so let's give our listener a step-by-step method. Very specific, clear examples. How do they start this today?
Start small and descriptive. Just narrate simple actions as they happen. When you wake up, before you even open your eyes, force the thought. It is morning, I am tired, I need coffee.
It is morning, I am tired, I need coffee. Very simple, no complex terms. What about, say, getting dressed or on the way to work?
Look at the weather. Force the thought. It is hot today. Or it is freezing, I need a coat. If you see a simple object, name it. That is a blue car. It is going fast. You are just using basic observation to create automatic sentences.
This is going to feel incredibly awkward at first, though. We have to acknowledge that ego barrier.
Of course it feels awkward. That is your ego resisting the feeling of being a beginner again. But we have to remember, babies don't quit walking after 3 tries because they feel silly.
That's a great point.
But adults quit languages because they prioritize comfort too much. That awkwardness is a necessary sign of adaptation. It is proof you are stretching the muscle, not a sign of failure.
So once we start thinking, we need to introduce the physical practice.
Yeah.
Shadowing. This is something so many learners skip because it feels, well, silly.
It does feel silly.
Yeah.
But shadowing is physical language practice. It means you repeat what you hear out loud immediately with no pausing and no translating. You are an echo.
And the key rule is, if you miss a word, you just keep going.
You keep going. You don't stop. The point is to catch the rhythm and the flow.
So what's the deep benefit here? Why is this better than just reading a script silently?
Because speaking is a physical athletic skill. Your tongue, your lips, your jaw, they all need training to coordinate sounds quickly. Shadowing trains three things at once: your ears for speed, your mouth for production, and your brain to link the two. It teaches you the music of the language.
The motor memory.
Yeah.
That's critical. So how do we implement this 5 minutes a day?
5 minutes a day is perfect. Use headphones so you can hear clearly. Start with a short clip, 30 to 60 seconds. And at first, it's okay to have the transcript. Look at the text, shadow it, feel the link between the sound and the word.
And then?
And then, here is the secret. Hide the text. Shadow the same clip again, focusing only on the rhythm. If you miss a word, you keep going. You can't pause in a real conversation, so don't pause in practice.
And the cost of avoiding this seems huge. It feels like this is the main reason people know English but can't speak it.
It is the hidden cost. Skipping shadowing chooses slow progress. It guarantees confusion in meetings. And worst of all, it reinforces that frustrating idea. I understand English, but I just can't speak it. That is a physical problem, and it needs physical training.
Which leads us from silent thinking to the power of speaking out loud. You say learners practice silently, then wonder why their mouth doesn't cooperate in public.
Yes, silent practice is safe, but it is incomplete. The muscle memory is never developed. You have to talk to yourself when you are alone. It might feel a bit crazy, but it is the safest place to fail.
A better place to fail than in public.
Much better. If you are too afraid to practice alone, you are guaranteed to be embarrassed in public. It is a simple choice of which problem you prefer.
Okay, so let's detail this self-talk. Let's say I'm making breakfast.
Narrate it in simple sentences. Look at the ingredients. I am cutting onions. This smells very strong. I am hungry. The eggs are cooking now.
I am cutting onions. This smells very strong. Simple, real-time sentences. What about during a commute?
Stuck in traffic. Perfect time for it. Traffic is bad today. I will be late. I need to turn left soon. These sentences are not complex, but they build automatic English. They switch the habit from translating to just describing reality.
And this leads directly to the confidence link. You say, speed is confidence, not perfection.
Yes. Think about a quick social greeting. Someone asks, "How is it going?" If you have trained your brain with self-talk, the automatic answer comes out immediately, before the panic can set in.
Busy but good.
Busy but good, or pretty quiet, thanks. 2 or 4 words, fast and automatic. That speed is the sound of confidence. It proves fluency no matter how simple the grammar is.
And this all brings us to the final tool in this section, reading aloud.
Yes, because if you only read silently, your mouth stays passive and untrained. Take a short text, a paragraph from a news article, and read it out loud. Read it slowly, paying attention to stress. Then read it again, a little faster, with some emotion. You are training the link between the eyes, the brain, and the mouth. You have to find the music.
Okay, moving to section 3. Integration, consistency, and exposure. This is where we stop treating English like a class and start treating it like a tool you live with every day.
That is the essential insight. Language thrives on relentless, low-effort repetition within your daily routine, not on intense, isolated study sessions.
Right. If you only study for 30 minutes and then live the other 23.5 hours in your native language.
You're practicing theoretical English. And theory doesn't help you when you actually need to communicate.
So we need actionable integration hacks. Ways to embed English without adding stress. Let's start with the phone. We all use it constantly.
The most powerful, simplest, and most uncomfortable hack is this. Change your phone language to English.
Ooh, that sounds painful.
It will be incredibly annoying for the first 2 days, I promise. You will struggle to find the settings menu. But then something magical happens. It becomes normal, and you automatically learn words like settings, update, battery low, storage full.
The pain points are where the learning happens. You don't memorize these words, you absorb them because they have immediate, real-world consequence.
Exactly. That is real learning. You are forcing immersion on yourself no matter where you live.
Okay, what about writing? So many people dread writing. They think they need to produce a perfect essay.
That is the biggest mistake. We are aiming for consistency, not complexity. Don't write a novel. Write exactly 3 simple sentences a day.
Just free.
That is all. Write them in a notebook, on your phone. They should be about your workday or a show you watched, for example. Today I worked 8 hours. I felt tired. I watched a funny show. It takes 5 minutes and it reinforces basic sentence structure.
That makes it so much more manageable. And the third hack brings us back to reading aloud.
Yes, take any short text you're reading and just read it out loud. Repeat it. Adjust the speed, the emotion. You're connecting the visual input, the meaning, and the physical output until that connection is automatic.
Now, we have to address the 2 big excuses that sabotage all of this. First, the classic, I do not have time.
That is not a time problem. It is a priority problem. Plain and simple. If you have time to scroll social media 50 times a day, you have time for one focused English sentence.
Or 5 minutes of shadowing.
Or 3 written sentences. We all have 5 minutes. It's about being honest with yourself and understanding that tiny daily efforts yield massive results over time.
And the other big excuse, which might have been valid 20 years ago, I do not live in an English-speaking country.
That excuse is completely irrelevant today. English is everywhere. It is on your phone, on YouTube, on Netflix. The problem is not geography. The problem is a failure to actively invite English into your routine.
It all boils down to the consistency rule, which sounds boring, but it's the only thing that works.
It is boring, and that is why it works. English improves through boring daily habits, not dramatic motivational bursts. 10 minutes every single day is so much more effective than one perfect hour once a week.
Like brushing your teeth.
Exactly. It's just maintenance. And when English becomes routine part of your morning coffee, your commute, it stops feeling scary. It just becomes normal. And that feeling of normal is immensely powerful.
Normal means your brain isn't wasting energy translating or panicking. It just uses the language.
Like a reflex. That is the fundamental shift we are aiming for.
Okay, let's move to the section where we confront the reality of spoken English. Speed, accents, and interaction. The first hard truth here is that native speakers are not going to slow down for you.
No, they will not, and you can't expect them to. Avoiding real speed keeps your English fragile. If your English only works when the audio is perfect and the speaker is slow, then your English, sadly, doesn't work in the real world.
And confronting that means accepting the messy reality of blended sounds.
Yeah.
We have to talk about why things like gonna and wanna even exist.
Well, we don't speak like robots, right? We don't pronounce every syllable perfectly. These blends like gonna for going to happen because the mouth is efficient. It's physically inefficient to say going to quickly, so the brain just smooths it out.
So when we hear gonna, it's short for going to. We hear wanna for want to.
Exactly. And also kinda for kind of, gotta for got to.
Right.
Avoiding these is avoiding reality. If you only learn the full forms, your ear will miss them completely in a real conversation because the sound you expect isn't the sound you hear.
So what's the training technique for using subtitles to build resilience, not dependence?
Subtitles are great training wheels, but you have to take them off. The technique is a cycle. First, listen to a short clip, 30 to 60 seconds without subtitles. Just catch the mood.
Okay.
Second, watch it again with subtitles. Confirm what you missed. Identify those blended words. Third, watch it one more time without the subtitles. Repeating the same clip until it sounds familiar kills the panic.
And what about all the different accents and speeds? Should learners stick to just one?
No, confusion is a sign your brain is stretching. Avoiding confusion means staying small. If you only train with one accent, you will panic when a different one shows up.
So mix it up.
Mix it up. A good habit is to rotate accents weekly. 1 week, American podcasts. The next, British YouTube. You don't need to master them. You just need your ears to stop panicking when the sound pattern changes. That adaptability is resilience.
Okay, let's pivot to mastering interaction, because fluency only lives in conversation. You say that choosing silence reinforces the habit of being invisible.
It does. If you only practice silently, you are training yourself to stay silent when the pressure is on, and silence becomes a deep-seated habit. We need to break that ego barrier. Most learners are just afraid of sounding awkward.
Or less intelligent than they are in their own language.
Exactly. But that risk has to be taken.
So we start small, with the small talk strategy. Why is small talk like a gym warm-up?
It's essential because it's about ease and rhythm, not about deep intelligence. Small talk lets you practice quick exchanges in low-risk scenarios. When someone asks, "How is it going?" the required answer isn't a long philosophical response. It is a simple, short reply, like, pretty quiet, just relaxed. The key is to deliver it automatically and then return the question. How about you? That is successful engagement.
Now let's talk about the power of asking for clarification. So many people avoid this. They think it makes them look weak.
It is the exact opposite. Asking for clarification is a sign of intelligence and engagement. If you are confused, ask. Saying, "Sorry, what does that mean?" or "Could you repeat that?" is essential. It saves the entire conversation.
Silence is actually the risky move.
Silence is very risky. It guarantees a misunderstanding down the line. Asking for help is polite. Native speakers respect the effort.
And for those who don't have practice partners, you suggest using voice messages.
Voice messages are a fantastic tool because they capture your actual spoken reality. Texting is safe, voice is deeply uncomfortable, which is exactly why it works.
It exposes your real rhythm, your pronunciation.
All of it. Record a 30-second voice message about your day. You will hate how you sound at first. Everyone does. But that feeling of discomfort is your most valuable feedback. It improves rhythm and drops your fear because you're confronting reality safely.
And finally, we have to talk about embracing mistakes.
Yeah.
They can't be seen as a sign of failure.
They are not. Mistakes are proof that you are using the language. You're participating. Avoiding mistakes makes you invisible. The people who break through are the ones who speak badly on purpose, knowing that use is always better than silence.
Which brings us back powerfully to the confidence cycle.
Confidence never comes before competence. It comes after practice. It is built by doing uncomfortable things repeatedly until they stop being uncomfortable. The real goal has to be communication first, perfection much, much later.
So you don't wait to feel confident to practice.
No, you practice until the confidence just shows up. That is the critical mindset shift.
Jordan, this has been an incredibly detailed and practical deep dive. Let's just quickly summarize the key takeaways.
The core message is simple. Stop translating in your head. Start thinking and speaking in English, even if it is badly and simply. And most importantly, integrate it into your daily routines. 10 to 15 minutes of focused, uncomfortable effort every single day.
We've covered so much. Training lazy ears, conquering the translation killer, the power of shadowing. But what's the cost of inaction? If someone listens to all this and then continues to skip the daily uncomfortable action, what happens?
They will stay stuck exactly where they are. They will keep understanding things passively, but they will freeze every time a real person talks to them at speed. They will carry that invisible weight of frustration, always feeling like they're almost there.
They'll spend more time watching videos about English than actually using it.
That's it. The cycle repeats forever until action is taken.
So here is our final provocation for you, the listener. The people who break through, the ones who achieve real fluency, they are not smarter than you.
Yeah.
They are not luckier. They simply made a decision to stop protecting their ego and started using the language even when they knew they would sound awkward or make mistakes. Progress does not come from knowing what to do. It comes from the painful, messy act of doing it, even when you don't feel ready.
That decision to speak badly, simply, but immediately, it's the single most important action you can take.
So here is your final challenge from the deep dive. You must do one small thing in English today. Right now, think one simple sentence, say one sentence out loud, ask one question in English, even if it is just to Google, one moment of action.
Stop planning, start acting. That is how you break the loop.
Thank you so much, Jordan, for guiding us through this essential material.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to you, our listener, for joining this deep dive. You now have the exact strategies you need to turn passive understanding into active fluency. You are prepared for real-world English. Do not forget to like this episode, subscribe to the Native Ear channel, and share it with someone who is ready to stop complaining and start speaking. Until next time, stay curious and keep diving deep.